Welcome to Brilliant Botany. Now we'll move on to the induced structural defense mechanism. Okay, so induced structural defense mechanism means to say here the structural defense mechanism which has been developed after the process of infection or after the attack of pathogens. Even after the establishment of the infection, the host defense system creates some of the barriers in them in order to provide the protection or even from the colonization of the tissues. Okay, now we'll see what are those barriers. The very first barrier is lignification. Yes, you know that the epidermal cells are made up of suberin, or they may be made up of lignin or even pectin also, or chitin, whatever it is. Okay, the epidermal cells that are made up of lignin or the cells where the lignin deposition takes place, and that we call it as lignification. Those lignified cells act as a barrier for the hyphal penetration. Also, these lignified cells act as impermeable membrane, or it is quite impermeable to the nutrients. It does not allow the nutrient substance to pass through it. So due to that, what happens? Pathogen cannot get the nutrition from the host plants, and this leads to the starvation of the pathogen. Definitely, you can see that the pathogen cannot infect the host plant during that time, since it is not getting any type of nutrition that die in the host plant itself. Okay, so this is one of the barrier. Example, Phytophthora infestans, or in the potato. So potato plant, you can see the lignified cell walls which provides the protection against the Phytophthora infestans. Getting? And even in the carrot, so the lignified cells in the carrot host plants provide protection from the Botrytis cinerea. So okay, this is a good example I can give for the lignification. So one thing you just remember, lignification, deposition of the lignin content in the cell walls provides the protection against or act as a barrier against the hyphal penetration. Okay. And these lignified cells act as an impermeable membrane, or it is quite impermeable to the nutrient substances. As a result, nutrients cannot move from one cell to another cells, and this leads to starvation of the pathogen. Getting? Now we'll move on to the second barrier, that is suberization. Usually in the host plants, the infected cells are suberized. That means those infected cells are isolated from the healthy cells since they are covered by the suberin content in them. Even the cork layer formation act as a natural healing system in the host plants. So cork layer formation in the infected tissues act as a healing system, natural healing system to the host plants. It provides the healing nature to the host plants after the process of infection. See, this entire defense mechanism, what I am explaining now, is seen after the process of infection or after the attack of the pathogen. The best examples are common scab of potato, and rot of sweet potato. These are the good examples. So in the common scab of potato and rot of sweet potato, you can see that the infected cells are suberized, and those infected cells are finally isolated from the healthy cells because the further colonization should not take place. In order to avoid the colonization of the tissues, those infected cells are deposited by the suberin. Even the scar layer is the part of the natural healing system in the plants. Okay, so this is about the suberization. The third important barrier is abscission layer. Yes, you know that abscission is the gap between the host plant and as well as the devices that are dropping off, right? And those devices may be a mature tissue, mature fruits, or they may be flowers also. Yes, these host plants may use this as their defense mechanism in order to drop off the infected cells. Okay, so here usually in the abscission process, what happens generally, the matured leaf, matured flowers, matured fruits will fall off, or they may get drop off from the host plants or generally from the plants. Okay, but here the plants use this as their defense mechanism or the defense system in order to drop off the infected cells which are associated with the pathogens. Yes, here due to the dropping off of this infected cells along with the pathogen, the further colonization of the pathogens can be completely avoided. Getting? You might have observed some short holes on the fruit part or they may be in the leaf part. So this is mainly due to the abscission of the infected cells along with the pathogen. If we move on to the fourth barrier, there we can see the tylosis. These tyloses are the button-like structures which are seen in the xylem cells. Tyloses are usually formed by the protrusion of the parenchymatous cell wall through the pits into the xylem vessels. Okay, usually they are button-like structures. Yes, this is how they are formed. And this is how they appear actually. And see the number of tyloses and as well as the size of tylosis definitely blocks the xylem vessel. If here, if more number of tyloses are formed in the xylem vessels and those formed tyloses are usually large in number, there will be no space for the process of translocation. So hence the reason it also acts as a barrier. When they block the xylem vessels, the spread of pathogen may not take place. Okay, since the tyloses are completely blocking the xylem vessels here, the translocation will not take place, and as a result of which nutrition cannot be provided to the pathogen. And another one is, if it blocks the xylem vessels here, the pathogen will not spread. Okay, so this is how the barrier has been created by the host plants without knowledge. Example is in sweet potato plant. Okay, in this sweet potato plant, the stylosis barrier is formed in order to avoid the spread of pathogen called as Fusarium oxysporum. And the next barrier is the gum deposition. Okay, so in the gum deposition here, what happens after the attack of the pathogen? So due to the consumption of some of the nutrients, even due to the infected cells, there some of the intercellular space will be created, and those intercellular spaces will be filled by the gums or as well as the vascular gels. Okay, so what happens there, due to the intercellular spaces, what happens, pathogen can easily spread into the surrounding region in the host plants, but since it is blocked by some of the gum materials and as well as the vascular gels, pathogen will not move further and as well as the translocation will not be seen. And if there is no translocation in the host plants for in the certain region, I'm not telling about the host plants, entire translocation will be stopped. If that happens, definitely the host plant will die. I'm only telling in few of the that too in the infected region the process of translocation will be temporarily stopped. So this is mainly due to the tylosis formation or maybe due to the gum deposition also. Is it or not? And there what happens, the pathogens that are present in the infected region, definitely they won't get any of the nutrition and that leads to the starvation of them and finally to the death. Okay, and after that, and after dropping of this infected cells from the host plants, then the normal translocation process will takes place in the host plants. Hope you like this video. Please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon. Also never miss an update from me. So stay tuned. See you in the next video. Until then, take care.